The flower of life. It's a very famous geometric shape. It was first seen in the Temple of Osiris in Abydos, Egypt. It goes back 4,000 years BC. And it again is at that nucleus of the Fibonacci spiral. And I bring this together because this is the potency of this ecosystem that we're creating. Really has that power to deliver benefits in the form of digital currency that are not delivered yet by any currency in the world. And we're going to start that here today. So you are in the right place at the right time. Now, this is what I wanted to do was just try to really give. There's a lot going on, and it can get confusing for people. So, what I did here is just took some of those are the 6 pillars, the initial pillars here that, and we put those together and weighted them a bit. This is weighted for the security, capital appreciation, liquidity. There's some elements of this in the design, so it can be studied a bit. This takes it the next level, and it really is, it's like, a type of one of those mandalas, right? You can really take a look at this, study it, and this will help you see some of the aspects of what we're intending to do, what the benefits are that surround this whole enterprise. And so this is published in the white paper as well. And as you can see, it all revolves around trust. Trust is so important. And everybody here needs to be aligned with that. It's up to all of us. Everybody here is the beginning of that trust chain. Everybody is, we have our own blockchain of people. It's a blockchain of trust that's going on person to person. And that chain, is as strong as its weakest link. So that's what we need all of you to realize and get behind. And it raises the bar for everybody here. It's like we need to be the standard bearer that represents this trust chain. And it's very, very important. Now I have the pleasure of introducing someone that has come into our paths. He was with us at the very first meeting in Singapore. And he's a giant in Singapore business. This guy has been incredibly successful as a business executive. He held a number of high-level executive roles. Most famously, he took Compaq Computers, which everybody knows, right? This was in the late 90s that he took the helm of that. They were at 30 million, which is a good pace. But in just 5 years, he took them to over $1 billion in revenue. He retired from that and has been running a boutique advisory firm in Singapore. He sits on the board of many public companies, government agencies. He actually sits on the disciplinary committee of the Monetary Authority of Singapore. He is a brilliant thinker, and he's an author of 3 successful books where the proceeds of the sales from that are approaching $1 million. He's donated to charity. And he came into our circle and really gravitated to this. I'm thrilled to be able to announce that he is part of our DasCoin board. His name is Soon Hock Lim. And it's my incredible pleasure to bring him to the stage and have him give a little presentation. So Soon-Hock.
Good morning, everybody. Michael, I am truly humbled by your introduction. And as you all probably are not aware, I'm already beginning to feel the pressure. and that's one reason why for all these years I haven't been able to grow as tall as Terry. Well, I want to thank John, Terry, and Michael for the kind invitation to speak to this very passionate gathering of people who believe in cryptocurrencies. Like you, I believe that cryptocurrencies will displace and replace fiat currencies and hard currencies in time to come. And why do I believe in that? I think first of all, this Internet of Things has made it possible. But as you heard from Michael, I came from an IT background. I think the biggest driving force of that happening, in my own opinion, is that today we can digitalize authentication, which is the very foundation of trust, which Michael talks about. I have to confess that I'm actually a novice in the cryptocurrency world. So what I'm going to share with you are actually my own personal opinions and thoughts on what I think Dashcoin should and can do to lead the world of cryptocurrencies. So if I say things that appear naive and nonsensical, I just ask you for your forgiveness. And if anything at all, put the blame on both Terry, Michael, and John for giving me the wrong inspiration. Okay, on a more serious note, I think Michael talked about one of my reincarnations in the Compaq. So I thought it is pertinent for me to share with you a little bit of the Compaq story in Asia Pacific. I think those of you who belong to my generation, you would have known that in the late 80s and 90s, Asia is a very undeveloped and underserved PC market. Right. My team and I built $1 billion company. And actually I did it in 7 years. I wish I could do it in 5. So, a lot of pressure from Michael, Yeah, he actually did it was 7, but he purposely tell it was 5. So, in any case, my team and I built $1 billion company. And I would say that the team and I believe in the possible. Because when you believe in the possible, the impossible becomes possible. Think about it, right?
Yeah.
So, in a market that is underserved, underdeveloped, and in a way there are parallels in the cryptocurrency world. I think the big markets are the markets where the people are underbanked, right? You have that opportunity. You have that opportunity to really go out, change and define the rules of the game, to play in big oceans, blue oceans, rather than in red seas. So, what did I do? I remember at the press conference which the company arranged for me to introduce me as the Vice President and Managing Director of Compaq Computer Asia, I just had two opening statements. The first statement that I made was, I told the crowd gathered there that Compaq is going to set the standards for PC computing. That was my first opening statement. The second statement which I made was that Compaq will be a household name in Asia Pacific. Of course, by that time the press knew me as Mr. Digital and Mr. Apple, and they look at me with bewilderment. Are you crazy? I mean, this is almost an impossible market for you to penetrate, you know, with entrenched competition like IBM, Apple, and so on and so forth. And I look at the non-verbal communication messages that they were trying to send to me, because a lot of them were my friends. They said, I don't think you're going to last 1 year, because you're not going to be successful. But as they say, the rest was history. Because I built a dollar, together with my team, I built the billion-dollar company in 1995, and as you can see from the press clippings there, I certainly look younger. Not as good looking as today,
No.
that's for sure, right?
Yeah.
So in 1994, I was already taking the business to $800 million, and by 1995, end of 1995, I actually hit the $1 billion. And thank you. Thank you. And 3 years, listen to this, 3 years ahead of the corporate goal given to my boss, Eckhard Pfeiffer here. And I was actually, the Asia Pacific geography was actually #1 in my region in 1994, 1 year ahead of the corporate goal. In other words, the corporation set 1995 to be the year when the company is #1 worldwide. But my team and I did it in 1994. So he was actually in Singapore, as what most things would happen, good things. He came and presented to me my biggest bonus and the biggest stock options. So for what I've accomplished in 1994 and the kind of potential success at the end of 1995. So, in my own opinion, Descoin has the opportunity to lead in the world of cryptocurrencies. As a solution to the problems that are caused by credit abuses and mismanagement of the world's centrally banked fiat currencies. Technology-based money, and specifically cryptocurrency, and in John's words, digital assets management. I got to give you some recognition, John. Otherwise, you won't invite me for future events. Is the future. An assortment of problems prevented cryptocurrencies from being embraced by the mainstream, and all of you are aware of this, right? And I think, in my humble opinion again, Descoin can be the first cryptocurrency to gain adoption among the global mainstream. Right? You agree?
Yeah.
Because as you are all aware from many of the events that have been organized, it combines the best aspects of decentralized cryptocurrencies with the best elements of centralized currencies. And it eliminates their respective weaknesses. And the notable features include nearly instant transaction speed, a decentralized wallet system, fully authenticated user base, as understood, more secure, closed architecture, and definitely more equitable distribution model. And I got a good tuition from Terry on this morning. So I wasn't telling a lie when I tell you that I'm a novice in the cryptocurrency world. So I think Descoin can be the first cryptocurrency to gain adoption among the global mainstream. I think I talked about this already. So I want to cover a little bit about trends in cryptocurrency. So this is really a summary, right? If you go into the internet today, you're going to hear a lot more bad publicity as opposed to compliments about cryptocurrencies and the different operators behind it. And some of these past and present brickbats relate to, ill reputation for money laundering, Ponzi scheme, exposure to proceeds of crime, exposure to being used for terrorism, financing, etc., etc. Right. Having said that, I think cryptocurrencies do have strong appeal. I think you can have full transparency through blockchain technology and cloud. You can achieve instant cross-border financial transactions, which I talked about earlier on, direct and on demand, done whenever and wherever the person chooses, essentially rendering cash and credit cards obsolete. And as I said earlier on, cryptocurrencies will increasingly displace fiat and hard currencies for all transactions. So, in my opinion, again my humble opinion, Descoin will be and can be the cryptocurrency version 3.0. I deliberately chose not to use the term, the semantic Bitcoin 3.0. Right? I really think, in my own opinion, Descoin has that opportunity to become cryptocurrency 3.0. So leapfrog by seizing the opportunities to set standards and rise above the crowd out there in the marketplace. And I'm going to explain to you why I think that will be the outcome. I think it certainly would serve as a store of value and unit of conversion, fiat to crypto, crypto to fiat, and crypto to crypto, at the center of an ecosystem of digital value. It could rely on DESnet, an authenticated global network which can serve as the backbone of the ecosystem. You know, the galaxy that John talked about. And what's the name of that diagram that you talk about? The flower thing? Yeah. So I think that backbone is important. And what is more important from my perspective, and I want you to listen to this, the Internet of Information started in the early 1990s. Today is transitioning more and more into the Internet of Value. And this is marked by the ability for all of you to send and receive digital units of actual value rather than copies of information as seen in the initial version of the Internet. In my opinion, Descoin's ultimate destination is the Internet of Trust. So, I think the company can be a major industry player and a company can be a major disruptor to how transactions are being carried out. Again, I repeat, from the Internet of Information, transitioning to an Internet of Value, and then we choose, Descoin can choose that high ground, that uphill task of actually leapfrogging cryptocurrency 2.0 to 3, which is really the Internet of Trust. So, what is the Internet of Trust? You will have DesNet as the foundation of the Internet of Trust. The Descoin can be the store of value at the center of this ecosystem of digital value. Trust can be the currency of Descoin. Think about it. It's so powerful. Trust can be the currency of Descoin. And Descoin can be the currency of trust. As a currency of trust, it will work only when trust begets trust. Trust will generate more trust in Descoin and in Descoin's ecosystem. And the trust I talk about, and which Michael talked about, is between and among parties in the ecosystem. And that includes all stakeholders. More importantly, the regulatory authorities and the different regimes in different countries. And the ability to facilitate transactions in trusts, in my opinion, is the real value and asset in DesNet. So not only do you have value in Descoin, you also have value in DesNet. And all the other key components of the ecosystem which John, Terry, and Michael are building. This is even more important. The ultimate goal, why Descoin, in my opinion, should work towards an Internet of Trust. And that is, with trust, an infinite amount of value can be transacted. So, in building trust, there is a unique opportunity for Descoin to be different, as I have shared with you earlier on. And Descoin clearly should and must not be the same like other operators. You've got to rise above the crowd. And what actually fascinates me more, and having a lot more confidence in Descoin, is that the management team, the founders and the promoters have the gumption to want to introduce corporate governance and ethical business practices. So you hear from the legal counsel earlier on, and I think that's important. And underpinning it must be this corporate governance and ethical business practices, which must serve as the foundation for the trust in Descoin. And what is this corporate governance? I think many of you who were in Hong Kong would have seen this, and I want to quickly just cover it. I think, the Descoin is putting together a 7-person international board, and executive director and ombudsman. It will be stake-based voting, which means every one of you would have a say. All right. And there will be provision for authenticating authority, licensing authority, blockchain properties, crisis intervention as well. But I think what is important, and I want to reiterate the point that Michael opined earlier on, and that is there is a role for everyone, including myself here, and that is that as we are equal on the network, we can one another on the risks, theft of money, and identity hacking, unauthorized spying or monitoring, exposure to money laundering, to proceeds of crime, to being used for terrorism financing, etc. And to support Descoin on the steps taken to prevent them as best as possible. So I couldn't agree with Michael more. You know, the entire ecosystem is as strong as the weakest link in the entire network. So we all have a part to play, not just the board, which is really looking at corporate governance, providing oversight, etc., etc. Right? But each and every one of us here, in my opinion, has a key role to play. So in this digital network of trusts, Descoin can be at the forefront of that exciting paradigm shift. It has the right solution for bringing the sound money system to the global mainstream. Definitely, trust needs to be adapted to this digital paradigm, not eliminated. And with an authentication of identity, digitally formatted and done in a reliable, systematic, and global basis, this must be the heart, or at the heart of Descoin's solutions with supporting security features. Digitally verified trust, in my opinion, is key to creating a strong and widely adopted system of digital value. Now, businesses do not fail, people do. This is one of the philosophies that I believe in, that I use to build companies. I won't go into details, but I was told that over 20,000 software licenses have already been purchased, so that's a fantastic achievement for a young startup like Descoin. And I think we should encourage the management and give them a round of applause. The referral-based growth model is certainly operating, otherwise they couldn't have achieved this 20,000 licenses. And of course, they are going to count on you to eclipse 1 million licenses by the end of 2017. I don't know whether they can continue to grow tall, John and Michael, but certainly that's an ambitious goal.
But it can be done.
All right. So, if I were to look into the future, which is not too far away, it is my opinion that Descoin can change the world of cryptocurrencies and how transactions of value can be conducted. Change happens at the speed of trust. Agree? Yes. Thank you. Change also happens at the place of trust. You agree? Yes. So those have got to happen. Right. And I just hope, and I wish Descoin well and all of you well, and because I'm going to be joining the board, I hope that all of us here may become the community and place of trust where change happens and we are all greater together. The future of cryptocurrencies, in my opinion, is in all our hands. It will be a privilege and honor for me, and I hope it's for you, to make it happen. Descoin will drive the internet of trust. Trust will be the currency of Descoin. Descoin will be the currency of trust. Thank you very much. You know, people call me Sun Hawk. Easy name to remember. So if you have questions, approach me, Sun Hawk. Just want to take another minute, you know, so that they all can remember me. It is actually a famous fish served on the dining table. It is an expensive delicacy, much sought after. But listen to this, I tell all my friends and business associates, The only time they can eat me up is on the dining table. And they have several choices: deep fry, steam, or barbecue. So I leave it to you to make the choice. Have a pleasant day. Thank you so much.
How amazing is this gentleman? We're so lucky to have Soon Bach. It's just a pleasure. He is approached on a weekly basis by companies seeking him out to be on their boards, and we are just thrilled to have him on our board. It's an incredible, you can see the caliber of this guy. Amazing, amazing. We are going to now introduce, we're finally reaching that point where we've been talking about Web Wallet for a long time now, and it's now coming to the forefront. And now you all are going to be introduced to your Web Wallet accounts, and it's really the core of the whole thing we're doing. Everything really is happening in the Web Wallet system. That's where we have this authenticated network. That's where the authentication is happening. And I have the distinct pleasure to introduce a guy I have known for a very long time. More than I even want to say, because it'll give our ages away. But I go back to college, freshman year with this guy. We were both together at Princeton, and I have known him throughout the years, and he is a really intelligent, really highly ethical person. Like he's someone that you can really look up to. He's someone that you can seek advice from. He is extremely experienced in Wall Street. He started out his career at Goldman Sachs. It's the highest level.
Guys, get ready for this.
It right out
Share
of school.
this now before
Had
it
a
gets
very
too late.
esteemed career
This is
on
gonna
Wall
be big.
Street. Became an
presentation is gonna
entrepreneur
be
in a
huge.
technology
Just
company.
let everyone know.
Has been assisting he's worked in venture capital. Has been assisting the governments of Serbia and Montenegro in various financial matters. And we are lucky enough to have him heading up the Web Wallet project. I want to introduce everyone to George Sarcevic.
George Sarcevic. So George is the fourth founder of the company. Terry, Michael, John, and George is the fourth one.
Thank you. Yes, we have known each other a long time. Michael was cool in college too. What can I say? John started today talking about the parable of the elephant. Mike, I think, went into great detail describing the head of the elephant, the strategy, the broad thinking. What I want to talk to you today is something that I see as the heart of the elephant. Now, we're not going to reach into the elephant, take the heart out, and kill the thing. But you can feel the heart of the elephant beating in all appendages, and I think it is important to what we're building. So, greetings, everyone. See a lot of familiar faces, see a lot of new ones. I guess that's what we want to be seeing. On behalf of Web Wallet, I'd like to welcome you all to Zurich and the official landmark minting of Das Coin. This minting is especially important as it enables the various components of the digital asset system to begin functioning, adding breadth and utility to the system. Soon, Web Wallet and all of its associated tools will be coming to life. No one gave me the clicker. That's like, thanks, sir. Green is forward, I presume. By now, most people in this room are aware of the transformational potential of blockchain and related technologies. They're aware of the disruption possible in everything from cadastral management, global
Web
payments,
Wallet,
and
guys, is a
intellectual
very
property.
important piece of
The
equipment.
implications of these changes are vast, but that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to discuss how most users will use Web Wallet to manage their daily financial affairs, empowered by the new tools that this technology revolution is bringing. I will touch on new features and give an overview of the Web Wallet rollout process. Most of us are familiar with the NetLeaders wallet. Today, when you click the Go to Wallet button associated with your NetLeaders accounts, you'll see available cash balance, reserve balance, and cycles balance, along with click-throughs for payouts and pay-ins. Pretty simple stuff. With the mining of DasCoin, however, it's necessary that wallet account holders maintain a separate, independent identity outside of the NetLeader system. The independent identity will allow greater independence and control for users and also assure compliance with AML and KYC protocols. The first step in this authentication process has already begun. In the coming weeks, NetLeader's account holders will receive emails to upgrade to Web Wallet 1.0. To upgrade, users will be required to provide an email address and a verifiable phone number. By upgrading to Web Wallet 1.0, users will obtain all the information they are used to seeing from the NetLeader's wallet, and also let them track daily changes to their DasCoin and cycles balances, as well as their current position in the mining queue. From an organizational perspective, Web Wallet 1.0 can also be configured to provide separate accounts so that people can keep their vaults organized. People will be allowed to have more than one wallet, and wallets will theoretically be able to hold many different vaults. On this current slide, you can get a feel for the possibilities of the new wallet. Web Wallet 1.0, however, will be a view-only service. To unleash the full functionality of the Web Wallet, an additional authentication step will be required.
Brilliant.
Clearly, we are focused on proper authentication. It's important in the business world today, and it's important to what we're building. I want to discuss this for a moment because it's important and timely. It is a process becoming more and more everything that we do online. On this slide, you can see the most common types of authentication checks. Identification checks are the most common. The identity check verifies the applicant's name, address, and date of birth by their details against a range of verified databases. This includes a database of 1.2 million stolen identities. The company asking for the ID check is notified when a red flag occurs, and it is thus protected from nefarious conduct. Just a few years ago, these costly checks would take weeks and be less accurate. Today, with current databases, basic checks can be done nearly worldwide, instantaneously, and with little incremental cost. Another common but more restrictive authentication procedure is the FCA check. It is a higher standard and essential for all employees working in the UK financial services sector. It takes about 1 hour. Some longer checks, such as employment history check, can take 10 days. These are times that are going to become less and less egregious to companies. Therefore, in order to proceed to Web Wallet 2.0, users of Web Wallet will initially provide a standard identity check, which will sometimes involve document image verification. On to Web Wallet 2.0. On the surface, 2.0 will look nearly identical to Web Wallet 1.0. It is a simple yet robust interface with customer experience, or CX, guiding its design. At Web Wallet, we recognize that CX is integral to the design, especially to younger generations weaned on the internet. According to one research study, 1 in 3 millennials are open to changing banks within the next 90 days. This is something that's unthinkable to older generations, where oftentimes you inherit the bank of your parents, and unless they steal your money, you're going to stay with them. That's not the case anymore. It was found that 33% of
George, just take it a little slower just because the interpreters are asking for that. So,
how much time do I have? All right. a lot of ground to cover. Okay, I'll try to slow down. And maybe I'll skip some of the more esoteric stuff.
Yeah, guys, I'm slightly on the side, so this is as good as it gets. I'm going to zoom it up.
So
a
customer
little bit,
experience is
but we should have
indeed
access
the
to
new
these slides as
competitive
well.
battleground. By 2020, it's predicted that customer experience will overtake price and product as key brand differentiators. At Web Wallet, we recognize this and are building it from the ground up. As mentioned several times by myself and earlier speakers, authentication will be integral to unlocking the function of the Web Wallet platform. The first exciting step in this process will be the delivery and configuration of a hardware wallet we are calling the Validator. Now, maybe it's because we're in Switzerland and Arnold Schwarzenegger is from just over the mountain somewhere. But every time I read Validator, I want to say it in a Schwarzenegger accent. So forgive me for introducing the Validator. That's not quite right, but what is the Validator? Web Wallet has been working diligently with hardware developers to provide a customized personal security device that would be the best on the market. Simply put, the Validator is a hardware wallet configured to the specific needs of the Web Wallet user base. So why is it important to have a hardware wallet? Recent Bitcoin exchange hacks have resulted in the loss of tens of thousands of Bitcoins. Subsequent to these events, many experienced users are increasingly questioning leaving funds on centralized entities rather than managing them on their own device. But with malware so prevalent and personal devices so vulnerable to dedicated attacks, how can you be sure your digital assets can be safely held? Hardware wallets minimize this risk. Hardware wallets are basically personal electronic devices with dedicated chipsets, like the credit cards most of us carry. Everything is done under a protective screen, and your private keys never leave the device. Your funds are organized and transactions are signed and broadcast to the blockchain only with validations from the physical device.
That's probably the one.
Validators will ship in June and be an integral part of the Web Wallet product offering. The cost will be 49 euros, which I think is small compared to the additional security it's going to give to account holders. Once received at the physical address of the account holder, the validator is simple to set up. Web Wallet customer support will hold your hand if necessary, but most users will have little difficulty. Opening the box, you'll find a device that looks similar to a USB drive with the addition of a small LED screen and mini USB port. There are also some buttons on there that you can't quite see in the picture, but they're small but quite functional. Web Wallet user will start by choosing a 4-digit PIN code.
Validator, not leaders.
That code will be needed to access the validator. You will then copy 24 unique words from the device to a recovery sheet. This sheet will allow users to recover accounts anytime in the event of loss. After completing the configuration, you will install the Validator app in your browser. What this means is that you can use your Validator with Chrome apps on any computer, anywhere. Even a compromised computer can validate transactions with the security of the user. Each transaction will be verified on the display and with a couple of button clicks, so it's really quite easy, quite user-friendly. This is probably going to look familiar to a lot of people.
Guys, it's exactly what.
So by going down this path of authentication, it's going to open up a wide range of other services that we can bring. It attracts a lot of merchants that understand that we have a big whitelisted user base, and they want to sell things to them. So, as you can see, the authentication procedure will unlock the door to additional services. An authenticated growing network of 20,000 or more paid users is compelling to online merchants and service providers. One such service is the addition of a payment card. Above you see a mock-up of the Web Wallet debit card. I don't know if you can see the map. In this mock-up version, I think we have the center of Web Wallet somewhere around Iceland. That may be shifted to Warsaw in the future, we'll see, but for now it's in Iceland. So Web Wallet users need simple, flexible methods to send and receive funds around the world in multiple currencies and at the speed of light. The Web Wallet card will clearly help you do that. I won't spend any more time on this. Most of us know how to use these already. I'll suffice it to say that the reach of Web Wallet will be greatly extended. Likewise, in many consumer-facing financial businesses, user acquisition is a key metric of success. From the beginning, DOS has been designed to provide utility and liquidity to the user base. The growing size and whitelisted nature of our user base is compelling and getting the attention of merchants. Right now, we are negotiating with an online brokerage company to offer commission-free trading of global equities to our user base. The working title for this is Blitz Trade. Blitz kind of has the Germanic impact of DOS. Blitz means lightning in German. And simply you will be able to trade stocks on global exchanges by submitting your cycles. That will also give an implied value to the cycles and eventually the coin, which I think will be some good early on utility for the system. We expect to integrate this into the Web Wallet offering by the end of the year.
Fantastic.
So, clearly things are moving at breakneck speed.
Roadmap.
We are at an exciting inflection point in the growth of Web Wallet and the entire digital asset system. We're almost into the second quarter of the year. This quarter promises your initial authentication, which, as I said, is already beginning. You will be creating external Web Wallet accounts, view only initially. You'll receive your validator, which will allow you to transact in the wallet. By the third quarter, we expect payment cards, fourth
just
quarter
stop
stock
trading
trading,
cycles,
and
that's something else, the
2018
public
promises
exchange.
the external exchange. So I think we've come a long way, but in a very short time, there's going to be some market progress that we've all been dreaming about. So to review, today's minting is making the unveiling of Web Wallet possible. Within days, authentication invitations will be going out to most users. And validator hardware can be ordered in a short period. Once authenticated, users can view their DOSCoin balances and queue positions. Higher authentication levels will allow even more possibilities and wider flexibility. We look forward to building all of this for you. Thank you very much. Dziękuję bardzo.
And on that that timeline, there's a very important omission I noticed there. There in the third quarter, and we hope to beat this, but we have the internal exchange opening in the third quarter of that, and it somehow didn't make it on there. But that's the first element of using your web wallet account to sell into an internal exchange, and then it's in the external exchange that you would be, selling outside. So that's just a clarification. I want to make sure that everyone absorbs the power of what George just went over, because it's an unprecedented thing. First of all, that we have an authenticated network. No other cryptocurrency has that. Secondly, we are requiring, and it's for the safety of the whole network and the whole system. In every other cryptocurrency, a hardware wallet is a really smart idea, and that's all it can be, though. So many users are going to use a software wallet. They're going to use a wallet on their mobile phone, and one big loss is a story for the press. What we're doing with this is requiring for any movement of DOSCoin, you will have to have this hardware device. It will make our system the most secure digital currency in the world, without a doubt. I mean, this is something we can really get behind. There is nobody that has an authenticated network and no one that's requiring a hardware device. It's unprecedented, and we really need to absorb this point because it sets us apart. So, yeah, it's important. So I want to just briefly go over and build off of what George just went over, and give you a sense of what's going to happen and how this is going to happen. So we're finally at the point where those cycles are going to queue up and start to convert into DOSCoins, and those will be directly deposited into your Vault account. How does that work? So you have an account with NetLeaders. We're going to verify that. We're going to need you to, and it's been already happening, some of you have been logging on. You've been asked to verify a phone number, and the reason for that is we need a second authentication step. We need your email and your phone, and and through those two things that we're going to offer you an invitation into Web Wallet. So you'll get that invitation, and they're going to start to go out once we turn the blockchain on tonight. They're going to go out on a rolling basis, so they're not going to all be delivered. We want to do this in a very correct way, and we don't want to overload our support team. So it is going to be kind of in the way that the orders came in the queue. We're going to start rolling out invitations. It's going to bring you to a screen like this. This is only through your email invitation that you get here. And you'll have a defaulted username that's going to be the username of your NetLeaders account. to be able to
How many
change
people are
that if you
recording
want.
this?
But for
Huge
every account, this is a very important step in that we need to tether your NetLeaders account with a web account. And so this, because in essence what's happening is that license that you have needs a vault, and the vault needs to be in a web wallet account. And you can, if you have multiple licenses and multiple accounts at NetLeaders, you could put all of them into one web wallet account. And you're going to need an authenticator, the validator for authenticating any transaction that goes on in your wallet. So each wallet is going to need the validator for that, a separate validator. These are attuned to your wallet. So just keep that in mind. You can create a wallet for each of your accounts if you have multiple accounts, or you can put them all into one wallet, or you can divide them up how you want. But just realize that each of them has needs that validation process through a separate device. And that device is linked to these accounts. It's the most secure way of, because of our centralization, we can do something that no other cryptocurrency can do. The people that we're working with on this device they said that if we were to do this completely decentralized, if we had no way if we didn't have that centralized authority, it would take years of development to do this on a strictly decentralized way. It would be very difficult. We win this model, we win this race with our centralization. But what are we doing with that? With the centralization, we're actually putting people in control of their coins. So that once you have this validator, nobody can touch what's in your account. Only you have to validate anything that happens on a hardware device that cannot be corrupted. It has a smart chip inside. It's just an unprecedented level of security, and it's something that we can really build trust on. That's really important, and this is making it possible. So this step is going to be really big. Again, you can see down there that you can either create a new account when you get this invitation, or you can link your license to the new account, your existing account, excuse me. So you got the S verification that's where you need to have that number validated in our system. It's very, very important. This again, George touched on this, but this is once you get inside and to look at that. The queue will be informing you of where you are when it's anticipated that you'll be getting your DOS coin. And that gives you a little glimpse into what's coming. And again, it starts with the minting. With the blockchain being turned on, that invitation process is going to start rolling. So that's going to start tonight. Right now, I mentioned them before, and it's a treat for me to introduce this incredible group of people. We have the CEO and the head of strategy from this group, but they have an entire team that's on a similar caliber. It's an amazing team. If anybody has seen one of the guys who helps with our events, where's Retta? Is he here in the room right now? Retta, are you here? Because look for Retta and thank him, because we found this team through, Retta happens to know the graphic designer at this agency in London. And we talked to this team and were blown away by just the level of expertise, the experience they have in brand strategy. And we presented them a challenge. You saw the Galaxy. That's a challenge for a branding firm. But these guys are so up for the challenge, and they've risen and exceeded our expectations. So without further ado, let me introduce Neil Henderson and Dan Hulse, and they are from the agency St. Luke's.
If you were hoping for Don Draper, you might be a bit disappointed. But we'll do our best. Play the first film.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
So here's to the crazy ones, right? In the mid-90s, I'm sure you know the story, Steve Jobs imagined a world where computing would be so human and simple that everyone could do it and it would change the world for the better. At the time, he just rejoined Apple. It was on its knees. He cut all the product lines that they were developing to just two things, iMac and iBook, but he needed a campaign to get people excited. And he didn't have the product to show. And that ad was the ad that made people believe in his vision. And I wanted to show it because Dascoin has a similar vision. Dascoin has a vision that a world with a totally new currency will be a better world. And I think that puts you guys amongst the crazy ones, right? Explaining this vision to people out there and getting them to travel with you on that journey, just as Jobs got people to travel with him on his journey, will be enormously exciting. But it's going to be enormously challenging too. That ad was made by a global agency called Chiat Day, a maverick agency, fantastic agency. In '95, the London office of Chiat Day broke away and became St. Luke's London. And St. Luke's is the agency, as Michael said, that Dan and myself represent today. I'm delighted to be working to support you guys in the challenge of marketing the currency in the months and perhaps years ahead. So Dan and I just wanted to tell you a little bit about our agency story and some of the brands we've assisted over the years. When we founded the agency in 1995, I guess we were pretty crazy ourselves. We set out to challenge the way creative companies were owned and managed in the newly named knowledge economy. Our belief was that in the knowledge economy, people in the company should have a stake in the success of the growth of that company. And it led Harvard Business Review to call us the most frightening company on earth. Bit of exaggeration, I guess. But because of our approach, we've been lucky enough to work on some of the most exciting briefs coming out of London in the last 2 decades. Clients came to us when they were driving huge change in the market, when they were innovating beyond people's imaginations. And that's where we are with Dascoin. We're at a point when they need to take people on a journey into a future they cannot yet see. Eurostar. In '95, the Channel Tunnel started running train services between France and England. And for the first time, there was a land link between those two ancient enemies. It's somewhat pertinent this week, I guess. We were the agency that launched those services.
IKEA. Who here's been to IKEA? Quick show of hands. Quite most of you, I think. I think if this was in Britain, it would be all of you, and you'd be sat on IKEA chairs. But that wasn't always the case. When we started working with IKEA, they were really struggling in the UK. They were selling modern Scandinavian design furniture, and the British didn't want any of it. But when Brits were decorating their homes, the look they were going for was not minimalist design, it was more Downton Abbey. So a little bit more old-fashioned, a bit more traditional. And we realised if we were going to make IKEA a success in the UK, we couldn't just transform their fortunes, we had to change the taste of Britain. We had to get people to move on from all this flowery, lacy furniture to the clean lines and drive out of town and build it themselves. So we did a series of kind of big cultural campaigns encouraging people to chuck out their chintz, encouraging them to stop being so English. Today, it's sort of slightly painful thing, but yeah, it worked. Everyone's got IKEA in their homes in Britain.
And we went on to do IKEA's first ever global campaign. In 2012, the Olympics came to London. That's pretty big. But in 2012, of course, it was the depth of the recession. The country was on its knees, it certainly felt like that. And Londoners could only see cost and inconvenience. All the roads were going to be shut and they couldn't get a ticket. And we were the agency that helped Boris Johnson, who was the mayor of London at the time, we helped Londoners see that London would be transformed by the Games.
Over the last 12 years, we've been working with Heineken across a range of their brands through one of the biggest changes the UK drinking market has ever seen. The UK alcohol market was defined by groups of men in pubs, stood at the bar, drinking a lot of beer. But that's changed now. Kind of the typical drinking occasion, they're not stood up at the bar, they're not stood up at all. They're sat down, there's probably some food involved, and it's not groups of men. It's men and women drinking together, and they're not drinking beer. Do you know what they're drinking? Cider. There's now more cider drinkers than beer drinkers in the UK, which is an incredible thing for a nation that loves its beer so much. So we work with them to help them grow some of their bigger brands like Strongbow there, biggest cider brand in the world, and help them launch some of the new brands that are driving that change.
So, over the years, we've learned some big lessons about how you bring extraordinary visions to life and how you make them real. And the first lesson is you have to help people see it. When something is so new, they really struggle to imagine it. Let's go back to 1999, the internet. Yeah. The internet arrived big time, but it was still a mystery to most people. They couldn't kind of get it. For British Telecom, BT, as it's known now, was the UK's national phone company. It was vital that they transformed themselves into a leader in the new world of internet services. And to do that, they took on the challenge of explaining what the internet really meant for everyday life. Can you run that film?
What's this groove called under my nose?
Filtrum. We call this your filtrum.
Yes, sir, I'll be with you in one moment. Look at the size and competition of it. Here we go now. I'm a fishy pie. There's one up there for the lady, 5 up there for the gentleman. It's all got to go, and so am I.
This is our prototype. We try to make it as user-friendly as possible. We need to know what you people think of it. Tell me if it's too light, whether you can get on the buttons all right, and just give us your input. Thank you.
I love being a mum. But does anyone else sometimes feel overwhelmed?
Did anyone here go to St. Margaret's School, Tobago in 1952? Brenda? Hector Blake?
Hello. I'm looking to meet someone, initially for friendship. I enjoy Thai food and reading trashy horror novels. Age, height, looks.
The more connections we make, the more possibilities we have. Discover how BT is helping all of us make new connections.
That was shot by Jake Scott. It was shot by Jake Scott, Ridley Scott's son, just after Gladiator. It was shot by the whole Gladiator team, using all their technology and everything they'd learned from that film. Before that ad, people thought the internet was just email, or just for business, or it was just like a big library. I think we had this metaphor earlier, like the blind man trying to describe the elephant. They just couldn't imagine what the internet really was. And by creating that metaphor of the giant stadium, where everyone is connected, we help people for the first time see a future that we now all take for granted. And what we're going to be asking ourselves going forward is there a similar metaphor for Dascoin? Is there a way of letting people really see this so they understand the difference between Dascoin and the currencies that exist today? And that first properly lets people see how cryptocurrency is a better currency is going to be with us.
What's happening?
Our next big learning about helping brands elevate the brand to a higher level. And the example we were going to share here is the relaunch of Emirates Airline. We were briefed in the aftermath of September the 11th. Travellers fly Emirates, an airline with an Arabic logo. That's a pretty big ass. Back then, obviously, they've gone on to tremendous success. This is the commercial we made.
What?
Info? Voglio che ti.
Seriously.
You think about your typical airline commercial, and they'll talk about how great the planes are, how great the technology is, how lovely the food is, how glamorous the stewardesses are. And of course, Emirates had all that stuff. They had great planes, they had great technology, they got amazing food. But what we wanted to do was kind of push a little bit kind of further to go, what's the kind of biggest emotional thing that you can say about this airline? And what we did was define an agenda that was about discovery. It was a philosophy that was shared by the people who worked for the airline. It was the spirit of Dubai itself, as it was going through a period of tremendous change. And it was also something that connected with a new generation of entrepreneurs who were maybe flying to more interesting places to do more interesting business, who didn't want to fly with the boring flag carriers, who wanted to do something a bit more interesting. Dascoin's a bit like that as well. Of course, great benefits.
Debbie's going to message you
There's
now.
loads of amazing technology. You've kind of heard a lot about it this morning. I'm sure we'll kind of hear about the things that Dascoin is doing that makes it advantageous to other cryptocurrencies. All of that's great, and we think the challenge and the opportunity is to elevate that to what does that really mean? What's the big emotional benefit that can get people excited about this? And there's a bit of psychology behind why that's the important thing to do. There's a guy called Professor Jonathan Haidt who works in positive psychology. Lots of psychology studies the nasty stuff. Fear, hate, anger. This guy thought he was going to study the interesting, the kind of positive stuff. And he looked at the positive emotions that no one had bothered to describe. And he found one that he called elevation. Elevation is the emotion of inspiration. It's what you feel, that warm glow when someone gives a great speech or you witness a selfless act and you're just inspired by it. And what he says about elevation is, powerful moments of elevation sometimes seem to press a mental reset button, wiping out feelings of cynicism, opening hearts and minds to new possibilities. And that's really important because there are hundreds of cryptocurrencies. And as we've heard today, there's quite a lot of skepticism. There are different points of view about what's the right way to go. And of course, you've got to win all those individual arguments. But if you press the mental reset button, if you can inspire people with a bigger vision, then you'll carry them forward. And we think that's what Dascoin needs to do.
Brilliant. Thanks, mate.
So the next lesson is about storytelling and the potential for storytelling to conquer complexity. So we all know Amazon, right? We all know Amazon here to take over the world. If you're a retailer, Amazon are a retailer's nightmare. We have a retailer client, and they are not taking it for granted. Very.co.uk is the second biggest online retailer in the country, in the UK. Functionally, they are taking on Amazon at every turn. But their real strength in their fight against Amazon is their ability to use storytelling to win the battle of people's hearts. So this was the ad we made for Christmas.
What? For Ferry as well. These guys are just... This is incredible. What's going on? I did not expect that being here.
Get more out of giving. Get more out of every day with very.co.uk.
I must watch that ad about 200 times. It still brings a tear to my eye. And that ad played at Christmas, and this year Very became a £1 billion business in under 6 years. So, unbelievable. Just getting confident. So Amazon should watch out. So it's storytelling. By connecting deeply with people through storytelling, you can make a connection that transcends rational choices. And of course, Dascoin has many advantages, all of which have got to be explained. When people grab it, when they understand it, then they will buy with their minds. But we need to win the battles of people's hearts too, and that's what we need to do for Dascoin. And that's why defining the Dascoin brand in a way that's emotional as well as rational is a vital part of building a world-leading brand.
Behind each of those stories is what we call an agenda-setting idea. It's not just a big advertising idea. It's a thought which informs the entire brand, the entire business, and the culture behind it as well. We use the metaphor of the iceberg. So you've got the bit that you see above the water. That might be the advert, it might be the marketing materials that you see. But there's also beneath the water as well. It's the innovation, it's the technology, it's the culture of the people behind the brand. It's critically important as well. So when Apple say think different, they're inspiring people out in the world to think differently. If you're working in creative industries, if you're just kind of at home, they're encouraging you to think different. But they're also, it's a drumbeat for their engineers, for the people who are creating technology within the business. How can they think different as well? That's what they're constantly asking. If you look at Very, when they innovate, they're always asking, how can we help our customers get more out of every day? And for Emirates, Keep Discovering wasn't just an invitation to fly with them to different places. It was a cultural drumbeat for everyone who worked for and flew and kind of helped deliver that service. Got a way of getting to these ideas. What we look at, and the process that we've been going through with the team here at Dascoin, is what's your ambition? And it's a remarkable ambition. It's a gigantic ambition. So trying to capture that. looking at your audience. Who are the people that you're going to need to take on that journey with you? There's the early adopters, but ultimately the goal here is mainstream adoption, right? So thinking about kind of what is it that's going to want to get those people to get on board with Dascoin. Thinking about what Dascoin brings, so there's different innovations, there's bedrock of trust, looking at that, and then critically kind of who you are. So there's this great leadership team that we've heard about this morning. But there's also the people in this room, the other lunch talkers, the people who are kind of building that community of trust, trying to understand who those people are and capture that. We sum those things up then in two things: the brand agenda, which is the expression of what Dascoin exists to do, and then the agenda setting idea, which is the version that ultimately you might see on an ad, that will go out there and will be your think different. The idea that will capture people's imagination and help them have an emotional response. That's what we're looking for. Because, I mean, and as an ad agency, sometimes you get apple juices or biscuit brands kind of wanting to set an agenda. What's really exciting for us is that, I mean, my God, you're really setting an agenda here. You're changing the world. And that's why we're so happy to be here today, because it feels that agenda setting, I mean, there's a lot of work that's kind of gone on so far, but it really starts tonight.
Yeah, yeah, it really does. St. Luke's, that's the agency.
Another round of applause for those guys. Wow. Just amazing. Tonight we'll get a little glimpse of that whole elevation that they were talking about as applied to Dascoin and our whole ecosystem. We've created a Das Manifesto, and we have a video that we'll unveil tonight. So you got that to look forward to.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll be really cool.
There's more.
They're incredible to work with.
We're not done
as
yet.
you can see, the caliber
So
of their
exciting,
thinking,
guys.
and
Get
they have
on
an
this, get
entire
everyone on
staff
this.
that
Tell your granny
is
you need to be in here.
on that level. So we have an amazing people that's helping us to guide and then put together our branding as we go off into this mission. Do you have that last? I don't have any. I'm going to go through a little bit of what we've been working on with the St. Luke's team. So our brand guidelines. Dan went over this, and this is the process that they use, and it's a really unique process. This is the kind of brand strategy that it happens at the highest level in corporations. If they're lucky, you get a chance to work with a team like St. Luke's. They really understand branding and what's that DNA that really unlocks the potential of a brand. And so we've been diligently working through this process. They've talked to a lot of you. They wanted to understand our whole world. So their staff has been talking to lots of you and trying to piece together what's our DNA, what are we all about. And we created
big.
A statement of our ambitions. And what we came up with is we want to create critical mass behind the world's first mainstream digital currency. That's really what we're trying to do. And we want to overcome some of the challenges that are associated with that. And so that's the misunderstanding, the confusion. There's a lot of design flaws to it, a lot of the digital currency, but ultimately it comes back again to trust. And this is what we really, we're rallying around this trust element because we can win the trust game in this whole thing. Who are we, or who we are? A visionary alliance whose ambition is strengthened with know-how, wisdom, and real-world experience. So we're a global team of experts with a wealth of experience and deep understanding of the issues that face the current centralized monetary systems, as well as the flaws that undermine the so-called solutions of fully decentralized systems. We're an alliance that wants to break out. We want to challenge the status quo and do things how they should be done. And that's what we're going to do. Who's our audience? And we're starting. It starts here. It starts with you guys. And we with the St. Luke's team, it was defined as, they talked to you guys, as I said, and they found it was restless and motivated optimist here. Wanting to take a stake, in the movement that's building a better future for everyone. And that's really who we're looking to connect with. That's who we're going to build the chain of trust with. Other restless, motivated optimists. So it's a beautiful blend of those that believe, from advocates to enthusiasts and early adopters. Those ready to come together to fight against the current system. Those unified by a simple yet beautiful vision of a better, fairer future. And those who are aware of the possibilities that can be unlocked for them and the world around them. That's you guys. That's us. What do we bring to the world? The world's most advanced and secure solution for exchanging value. We can say that with great resolve and great confidence. It's an ecosystem that blends centralized and decentralized monetary systems into one perfected hybrid, eliminating their weaknesses while benefiting from their strengths. This will be the world's first unstealable and unhackable global currency. And really no other digital currency would have the ability to say that. And we can confidently say that. And that's having to do with that hardware wallet that George talked about. And then our authenticated network.
Net leaders, guys, you can really believe that.
So that nucleus, as we start to get to the brand agenda that St. Luke's was talking about. And we're laying down a global bedrock of trust that unlocks prosperity for everyone. That is our DNA. And I think it really captures, and it's a credit to Neil and Dan and the whole St. Luke's staff that really gets to what we're doing here. So you can get a bit, so laying down a global bedrock of trust that unlocks prosperity, the foundations and infrastructure that provide the most advanced and secure way to exchange value. Trust is the single most important asset that we'll provide. This very important quality of empowerment, control, the freedom to trade, exchange, accumulate value in a way that leads to a better, fairer, more prosperous, and flourishing future for everyone. And it's you and I at individual levels and within communities all over the world. So this vision is at its most basic element, it's really what we can create with this is prosperity for everyone. It is possible through the disintermediation of the banking infrastructure that's abused credit, that's inflated money supply, and this is a restoration to sound money. So our mission is to systematically, that's a very big word, it's a very good word, it's a very precise word in the way we're using it. Through our system, we are going to systematically spread prosperity throughout the world. So it's a mission that we can all get behind. And who doesn't want prosperity? There's so many communities that have been locked out of the benefits of the current system. Those are very fertile for our message. Very fertile for our message. It's the whole, we heard about, if anyone was in Hong Kong, and you'll see Blair Baker's presentation will get to the application of blockchain in Africa. And Africa is primed, and the reason they're so receptive to what we're doing and blockchain technology is because very much like the phone revolution that occurred, they didn't have the resources available there to do landlines. So there was not phone service for a very long time in many parts of Africa. And then when we started to get the mobile phones, they leapfrogged. They never even did the landlines. They leapfrogged into mobile phones, and they're an incredibly important way of doing business. There's the whole M-Pesa that's caught on there, so it's a way of using phone minutes to transact, and it's a form of digital value exchange that's happening. So they're right for our message. And at the core of this, and we've been just pounding on this because this is now our agenda-setting idea. We are the currency of trust, and we are going to build that idea out. And we're going to reinforce that in many different ways. And you'll start to get the first glimpse of that tonight when you see, or you're going to start to see the messaging come together on that in this St. Luke's prepared video that I think you guys are going to really love. So DOSCoin, the currency of trust, it's something that we can really get behind, and that goes back to Soon Hock's point of setting standards, to Neil and Dan's point of elevation and connecting at a level that you can really feel good about.
On board.
You know, this is something that we can really get behind.
Huge enterprise. That's what we're doing.
So that, I think we can have lunch. We'll have lunches out that way. We want everybody to come back.
So many absolutely fantastic.
We're doing okay on time.
Debbie's busy, already working. We're selling more licenses now.
We'll be back here.
People are
Try to
joining
be
the
here
team.
on time though.
The team is expanding.
So 1:30 is when
you can see why.
So
you can see exactly why this team.
Guys, my phone's blowing
So yeah, we're starting at 1:30. Just so come here 1:20. Let's be in our places. And we have a really strong agenda. And only 2 hours today.
Share the video, share it to everyone.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, seriously, I've got tears in my eyes, everything. It's just amazing that everyone who's on board already, well done. You're in an amazing place. Guys, tell your family. This is one business that you want to bring your family into, and your friends, and they'll thank you for it soon in the future.
Remember, be in the right team.
Yeah,
right
hours. Guys, we will help
matters.
you.
It matters who you join.
It really does matter who you join. And this business is the best thing you will ever do in your life. From my heart. Guys, get on board.
See you soon. There's going to be more videos today.
Sarah, call me. Yeah, let's get this license purchased.
Take care, guys.
Bye guys, go for lunch.
See you later.